the cash value begins to accumulate immediately. So right from day one, and is contractually guaranteed to grow every single day. The cash value cannot go down. Easy to access, very simple. We have a control over a growing pool of financial value that you can use. You can take advantage of opportunities. So everything that you need to finance throughout your lifetime, if you see a great sale on something that you've needed or wanted for a long time, or if you see a great opportunity for an investment, you have ready access to capital to take advantage of opportunities that certainly will track you down. So we're going to talk about the perfect investment. If you could invent a type of asset from scratch, so it has to be brand new and it must have zero drawbacks, what would it look like? So what type of attributes would this perfect investment have? And I'll share a couple of our most popular responses just to get everyone's brains kind of thinking. So we have a high rate of return, we have a consistent rate of return, and we have conservative, so safe. Let's see what some of the other most popular responses that we've gotten. We heard liquid a lot of times. We heard guaranteed, I think, maybe. Tax benefits, no volatility. I definitely heard that one. Yields income besides capital gains. We have creditor protected. That's a really good one. Inflation protection, control, transferable. So that sort of sounds like infinite. We have easy to manage, which I love. No hidden fees or penalties. Reputable, so has a good reputation, been around for a long time. And private. Private is one of my most favorite attributes that I like to think about, especially if you kind of take a look around, regardless of political leanings. But if you look at what's happening in the world right now, privacy seems to be a very, very attractive component, particularly around our personal data and our finances. So the question becomes, for you, for your own various assets, I simply want you to identify which features from the list above do your current assets do well on, and which items from the list above do your current assets fail to satisfy? I'll just let that sink in for a moment. Now, something that may surprise you, surprise, the list of attributes that I just shared most accurately describes a participating dividend-paying whole life policy. Now, you're probably already aware, when it comes to the process of becoming your own banker, the infinite banking concept for Canadians, Nelson actually made it pretty darn clear to us that we do not need a permanent participating dividend-paying whole life policy to practice the concept of banking. It is just a tool. There are two parts to this equation. There is the process of banking, so capitalizing, right, accessing money, and then paying it back with interest. That's banking. I mean, you could do that with a shoebox. You could pile up money, access the money, buy your car, and then you make an agreement with yourself and your family that you're going to put more back in the shoebox than what you took. That's banking. Now, at the end of the day, you're going to get all the vehicles and all the interest you otherwise would have paid to somebody else. The problem is that a shoebox has no growth. It's not a really great or reliable place to save money. So we need to use the best tool for the job. You could go and cut your lawn with scissors if you wanted to. You probably want something like gas powered, or like has some kind of solar panel, or a ride-on mower, some other tool to accelerate the ability to cut the grass, the results, the goal. So that's why we're using this permanent participating dividend paying whole life policy. It is simply a tool, and the best tool that we've been able to find to implement the process. And so let's take a little bit of a deeper dive to better understand the tool so that we can see, why are we using this tool to implement the process of banking? Why is it the best tool? Participating. What does participating actually mean? Well, when we're using what's referred to as a mutually owned insurance company, you become a co-owner in the life insurance company, and you get to participate in the profits generated from every line of business. Well, what do insurance companies sell? They've got segregated funds, they've got annuities, they've got term life insurance and a bunch of different types, universal life insurance, a bunch of different types, whole life insurance, a bunch of different types, participating, non-participating. We've got critical illness insurance, disability, the list goes on and on. Those are all streams of income. And the insurance company invests some money as well. And so that creates a stream of income. So we get to participate in the profits generated from all of the product lines because we are co-owners in the business and the insurance company is working for us. Dividend paying. Each year that the insurance company declares a dividend, it is contractually guaranteed to be paid to the participating policy owner, and it can never be repossessed and it can never lose value. So the cash values and the dividends only go in one direction. And how often these days do we hear contractual, guaranteed? This is a legally binding contract that you own and you control, and it makes you a co-owner in the business. Well, whole life. Now, there's nothing wrong with term life insurance. I have a whack of it myself because it's really good to make sure that I can take care of my family. God forbid something happens to me. I'm going to create a lot of wealth in my life. I have great economic growth potential, but I don't know how much time I'm going to have. So I need to make sure that I have enough life insurance in place so that my family never has a bad financial day, whether I'm here or after I'm gone. But I have a large amount of permanent participating dividend paying whole life policy. Term insurance is good for exactly that, a term. It's either going to continue to expand in cost, and eventually it's going to expire. So you're probably going to outlive it, or it's going to become too expensive. It solves a problem for a term. It's just not a good long-term solution. We have a whole life contract. So the contract covers you for your whole life until age 100. And this is really critical. This policy system is not an investment. It is a contract with guarantees. This next line says the total cash value of the policy must equal the total death benefit by the time the life insured reaches age 100. So every single day that the good Lord blesses me with air in my lungs, I wake up knowing that my family has access to more capital, more cash value than they did before, the day before. And it can never lose value. It can never be repossessed. It is vested and guaranteed by the insurance company. So I sleep well at night knowing that. Now just think, there's not many financial guarantees out there anymore. Pensions are going by the wayside. There's doubt about the future. However, dividend paying life insurance can help create peace of mind and unmatched financial security. Here's how. First things first, the cash value begins to accumulate immediately. So right from day one, and is contractually guaranteed to grow every single day. The cash value cannot go down. Easy to access, very simple. We have a control over a growing pool of financial value that you can use. You could take advantage of opportunities. So everything that you need to finance throughout your lifetime, if you see a great sale on something that you've needed or wanted for a long time, or if you see a great opportunity for an investment, you have ready access to capital to take advantage of opportunities that certainly will track you down. You're not penalized for accessing it early like you are with an RSP or other financial products. There's no sales fees or no tax or anything like that that you need to worry about accessing policy loans. There are several tax advantages, both personally and corporately. So we need the use of banking in our personal life, and we have the need for the use of banking in our corporate life. And there's nothing stopping you from implementing this process both personally and corporately. Now, it provides a growing death benefit, which is paid to the beneficiary, the named beneficiaries, income tax free. So again, kind of like some of the examples you've been hearing, right now, I could go and purchase a piece of real estate. God forbid I become an angel, my family's going to have to probably fight tooth and nail to continue to pay for that piece of real estate or try and sell it off or do whatever they have to do. They're going to be left with that mortgage debt. Whereas implementing the process, becoming your own banker to solve that same objective of achieving, increasing my rental portfolio, for example, capitalize my system. I'm accessing policy values. I'm acquiring rental properties. God forbid I get taken out. Now I have a large, growing, increasing pool of financial value, a death benefit that's going to pay out to solve some of those problems and create a windfall for the family so that they can keep the process going. Now, what we're talking about here is becoming a wealth creator. All of your money is already being deposited in someone else's bank. All of your money is already flowing. Now, I'm just using an example. I don't care what your number is to capitalize your policy system. We talked about $2,000 or $2,500 on a grandchild. So we're carving out some existing savings or some of your existing cash flow, and we're starting to control a portion of the banking function as it relates to you and your family's needs. And we're starting to have every single dollar that you're able to carve out work for you and your family 24 hours a day, and now giving you access to a growing pool of financial value. So I want to build my system over time. If the number is 10,000, 100,000, we have people depositing as little as $2,000 per year, all the way up to 200,000 and beyond. Each year they're capitalizing their system. They're paying premiums monthly or depositing premiums monthly or annually or a combination of both. Many different ways to capitalize. But I want to build my system over time and expand it. But for now, let's just think I'm capitalizing this banking system because I'm already capitalizing someone else's bank anyway. Now, the minute I start this contract, it's going to give me a death benefit. And I don't care what the number is, but let's just say it's 100K today, a million, whatever. But today I have a $100,000 death benefit. Now, over time, this death benefit is going to rise to, 1 million. Again, I don't care what that number is. Now, this line is representing exactly that, time, age 100. Okay, just like I showed earlier on the debtor saver example. So we have a rising death benefit. Time is going by because it's going by anyway. But now this green line here, the total cash value inside the policy must rise every single day, and it has to stay on track, on a schedule with the death benefit so that they match by age 100. So we immediately have forced efficiency in how this tool works. And the life insurance company is contractually guaranteed to be the one who makes sure that the cash value and death benefit match by age 100. It's on them. Your responsibility is simply to make your deposits. So we have a guaranteed outcome. The life insurance company is on the hook. If the life insurance company is contractually bound to make sure the cash value and death benefit match by age 100, and my only responsibility is to deposit premium, who then has 100% of the risk in this equation? Is that me as the policyholder, or you as the policyholder, or is it the life insurance company that has the risk? If we look at the traditional banking function, again, I'm using a car, I'm using a rental property. I don't care what it is that you need to finance, but I'm going to be the one who goes and qualifies for the vehicle or deposits the money into the down payment for the home and now has the mortgage. I have 100% of the risk in that equation, and I'm doing all of the work. By implementing the process of becoming your own banker, I'm effectively transferring my risk over time to the insurance company while I maintain 100% of the control, and I can still achieve all of the objectives and create momentum on my money. So now let's think about a goal, an objective. This green line represents the cash value rising. Now we know that we can borrow up to 90% of the total cash value contractually guaranteed from the life insurance company anytime we ask for it. So let's just say Vern's capitalizing this policy, or you're capitalizing this policy. It's chugging along each and every day like I do. Log in and see your cash values rise, see your loan availability rise. It's quite satisfying. Now, this little block, let's imagine that this little block of blue here represents my car. So I access 20, 30, 40, 10,000. I don't care what the number is. I access money from my policy system via something called a policy loan. Now you'll see here though, again, this black line represents time. Look at what's happening to the cash value. I actually have access to a growing, increasing pool of financial value because my cash value is still growing. I can't access this money below the blue line here because I already boarded out to purchase the vehicle. But now what am I going to do? You would normally save money in someone else's bank for your next car, or you would continue to make payments on the car because you financed it from someone else's bank. Well, in this example, what Vern's going to do is I'm going to start paying back my policy loan. So this is the balance of my policy loan going down. But you can see as I pay back my policy loan, what's happening to my access to capital? It just keeps expanding over time. So I have access to a growing, increasing pool of financial value. I always have access to this sandwich in the middle here between my policy loan balance and my cash value that's rising, right? This is what can happen for you and your family, and what each and every one of my teammates are practicing in their own life and coaching Canadians to do every single day, is to create a growing pool of financial value, give you more access, give you more control, and allow more of that money to flow back to you and your family, and create momentum so that you're not hurting future Vern or future John or Bill or Sally. You're not hurting your future self. You're just continuing to do what you've always been doing, which is banking. You're already practicing banking every single day. It's just that someone else is controlling the banking function and the banking process is working for you rather than against you.